Good morning, guys. I posted a picture or a meme on TRT in the UK today, and it was a picture of a man walking with his dog. The man was mindful and the dog was mindful. What I mean is, the man was mindful and the dog was mindful. What it really was to demonstrate was the fact that the dog was living in the moment and the man had XYZ, all sorts going on, and he wasn't concentrating on the moment. He wasn't appreciating the moment. We have a propensity to worry about things that should not be of concern at the present time. It's just human nature. That's the machine. I did a vlog yesterday about excess. Some people miss the point, as they always do. So I'm going to make another point about the rave generation. What did the rave generation teach us about life? Now, the rave generation, it came out through Thatcherite Britain, and one opinion is it was a rebellion against the machine clambering over each other to gain status, credibility and acceptance, because that's what we should be doing. And I think these big warehouse raves, obviously there's an anarchic side to it, but it was a rebellion, and what came with that was gathering, a community that hadn't been seen before. Perhaps Woodstock, and a few hippie things, but this was intense. This was with a lot of people ecstasy fueled, MDMA. Now, what does ecstasy do? It's serotonin. Serotonin is the happiness chemical. So, what does that teach us? A massive serotonin dump. Community. How did you feel when you were on MDMA? One of the terms is loved up. So when you think about the serotonin hormone, it actually is related to community. So you wanted to be with people, you wanted to be with like-minded people. Obviously it's a very distorted reality, but there was the reassurance that you were thinking similarly, is that a word? So it was about unity, and I think that's obviously something that's been incredibly lost in our modern society, where our population has grown so that our community is no longer a community. It's grown too large, and so small pockets are emerging. When I think about football, I think about these communities, but they're more xenophobic than they are actual real communities. There's nothing wrong with creating these small communities or big communities, but when an element of xenophobia creeps in, I think we've lost the point of a community, obviously. People need to protect, and people need to have this kind of assurance that they are correct. And that's sad, really. And I think really when we relate this to testosterone, I think having hormonal balance actually allows you to gain a sense of perspective that you do not get when you have low testosterone, or you have either high testosterone or high estrogen as a result of excess aromatization. Now, the primary symptom of excess estrogen is anxiety. It's quite uncontrollable, and when my guys lower their estrogens to normal range, they actually gain that insight that they lost when they had anxiety as a result of excess estrogen. I mean, think about women. You know, when they have PMT, it's uncontrollable. It's irrational, and often, I'm not saying everybody, before you jump down my throat, but you know, they have it every week, and they still sometimes can't control their behaviour. They may mean what they say, but they don't mean for it to come across in the way that it is either verbalized or physicalized. Physicalized, is that a word? So what happens with guys is that excess, that high estrogen, is quite insidious. It creeps up, and there's the perception that this is normality. And I think that's very worrying, isn't it? I think there are lots of guys out there who believe that how they are thinking is normal. These guys tend to lack insight and empathy, and I think that's it just highlights the importance of hormonal balance in mental well-being. So getting back to this Mimi, the dog and the owner walking the dog, mindful versus mindful. It's fascinating, isn't it? TRT in the UK is a really great community, because they leave the medicine to me, so there's no need for them to worry about their protocols. I will deal with that. But what we should be doing is looking at all the other aspects of health to go along with testosterone replacement therapy. So that's obviously nutrition. So when we think about nutrition, we have a principle, again, not a rule, and we think about low carb, high fat, and time restricted eating. Again, it doesn't suit everybody, so I'm just talking about the principle from a hormonal perspective. Exercise, again, there is no one size fits all model. So you can't say that somebody should do X, Y, Z when they have different body types and different muscle fibers, etc., different needs. So again, interesting, but you can't have this one size fits all model. So when it comes to mental health is incredibly complex. I'm awful, I turn to self-destructive behaviours. I'm good at giving out advice. I'm not good at taking it, and I'm not good at taking my own advice. But it's funny. One of the guys on the group said, "Why would you take any advice from Jordan Peterson? He's all messed up." And his mind is mindful. He's incredibly intelligent, and how he's portrayed by the media is very distorted. I mean, we all know the media is very distorted. But there's the assumption that he's severely depressed, and it's like, well, why would you take advice from somebody who's severely depressed? And there's sort of a point to that, but perhaps he is actually the best person to advise you of what to do to get yourself out of this rut. Because he is reported to be so severely depressed, he's there. He understands. Perhaps he's so deeply ingrained in his depression that he cannot get out, but he's trying to help you get out. So it comes back to this idea of community again. He is improving his mental health by helping others. That's the point. So in our modern society, we're all talking about self, materialism, all the crap. What we should be doing is giving back. So we should be helping our fellow man. So back to the point. This Mimi, I put it on at 7 o'clock after my gym session, and it's had loads of responses. And what have the responses been? Yeah, that's me. Yeah. But also guys offering support in the means of, this is what I do, this is what's helped me, this is a book I've read. So it's a good community. It's a community that understands that actually helping people is more than I don't know. It's if you don't get it, you won't get it. It's a group that are not there to just take what can make me better, what can I try next, because if you're still searching for something else, can I add this, can I do that, can I subtract that, what next, that's a state of anxiety that you're missing the point. So you need to be in the moment, appreciate the moment, play the cards that you've been dealt, and get on with it. So one of the guys said, what do I do? And we go back to balance. This is all about balance. Our modern minds are full of crap. So I think it's a matter of going back to basics. It's about a matter of establishing what's important in your life, what should be important in your life. And let's not talk about materialism, because that should not be important. And what should be important is looking after your health and giving back to society. Then you will find happiness. When you look at sort of people, sort of these modern day iconic people like The Rock, when he posts his daily schedule, and people go, bloody hell. Yeah. Well, he's been through depression, hasn't he? So he's realised the importance of structure, of goal setting. Now those goals should not be massive, crazy, I'm going to save the planet goals. We should save the planet, obviously. But they should be small, achievable goals every day, building up to a big goal. And then when you've hit that big goal, more goals to achieve a big goal. And you shouldn't be tough on yourself. Well, you should be, that's a lie, isn't it? You should be tough on yourself. But if you fail, you should have the resolve to go, right, okay, next time, reassess. What should I do? What went wrong? How can I correct that? And I think hormonal balance gives you that ability. And I think without hormonal balance, you're like a dog chasing its tail. Brought it back to the dog. So I think, yeah, you need to have structure. You need to have discipline. You need to have goals. You do need that reflection, that time where you think about stuff. But you've got to concentrate on what you should be thinking about. Not the machine, not the material crap, not the worrying about X, Y, Z. Mindful, not mindful.